First of all, welcome to the new year. You made it. You got through 2020 and we're all embarking on 2021 together. Hopefully I'll be around other humans that I work with at some point this year. So that's my most anticipated thing, really, is being able to hug people again. I'm looking forward to that as I lose my mind in this small room. But my most anticipated video game is easily God of War Ragnarok, mainly because I was fascinated by what they did in 2018's game. I love the direction that Cory Barlog and the whole team took that character in. Kind of a similar sort of direction in terms of maturity as the likes of Nathan Drake and Uncharted 4. Just saying, look, we're taking them from being a video game character with a rage meter and all these different finishes and all these different arcadey mentalities that are in there, that are enjoyable as hell, that we grew up with, and then just saying, what if they actually thought about their actions? What if they actually matured and were more contemplative and wanted to potentially have a family? And what lessons do they pass on? Which video game mentalities can become life lessons? I absolutely love that thematic idea. And like I said, it's in Uncharted 4 as well. But when it comes to a sequel, obviously they directly tease or show off the idea of Thor arriving at the very end of the first God of War. And if you go back to to Kratos' homestead, and I'm just so curious where that goes, because it seems like the scale that came in at the very end of that first game, where it becomes more of a God of War game and you're fighting this giant, and then, Jormungandr, the giant world snake, is taking out the giant while you're fighting Baldur, and it becomes more of a God of War game. I'm curious how they mix the heart of the 2018 version with the overblown, ridiculous, old school nature of God of War that Kratos arguably is trying to distance himself from. Because that game, the end of the first game, even sees him say, we need to be better. We need to be better than giving into overblown violence and cycles of violence and, passing on the wrong lessons to our children and things like that. And it's just such a great commentary on video games as a medium. You can tell that Cory Barlog and the team grew up as, have grown up alongside these characters and in this studio developing itself and the IP fleshing itself out. And obviously God of War's reputation used to just be big, angry, rage-faced kill stuff. And the fact that they pulled that back in such a brilliant, majestic kind of way, I'm just fascinated where they go from here. So, hopefully it doesn't succumb to sequelitis, where the sheer level of hype means that it's then harder to deliver on a sequel. But I have full faith in Mr. Big Bad Barlog, and I hope that he brings it all together. So God of War Ragnarok, hopefully it's brilliant, and hopefully it's on the PS5. Just the PS5, yeah. Just that. Good.
So I know this is supposed to be a video for the most anticipated game of 2021, but I'm going to be a little bit cheeky here and go for a game that is coming out in 2022, and that is the Callisto Protocol. It looks so good. I saw the trailer and straight away I was like, yes, this is the game that I need in my life. You guys know that I am a huge fan and lover of horror games. I really enjoy horror games that are futuristic or apocalyptic, and I really enjoyed the Aliens game as well as like Dead Space, and this basically seems like those two games have kind of met up and had a secret little baby, because it just looks so good. I'm not 100% sure what is going on. I'm not sure if these people that are on the ship are prisoners. They kind of look like prisoners. They've got these kind of barcodes on the back. They're in like these cells, but this sort of system comes over the tannoy and says, something's invaded the ship and everyone needs to wake up. So I'm guessing that would include any prisoners or crew. And obviously you see this guy get kind of mutilated and killed by this humanoid alien thing. But it just looks so good. It's taking everything I love about alien films, where it's kind of got these humanoid aliens. It's like, The Thing mixed with Alien, mixed with Dead Space. It's fantastic. The Alien game was really, really good. I absolutely love that. Dead Space is one of my favourite sort of futuristic space-themed horror games. So having something that looks like it's kind of all melded together in the future on a brand new console, it looks good. I'm very, very excited. I'm sorry I technically cheated, but 2022 looks like it might be the year for some really good games. So yeah, the Callisto Protocol, very excited. Thank you very much.
So, my most anticipated game of 2021. It was only ever going to be one thing. Of course, it's Gotham Knights. I am so excited to see what Warner Brothers Montreal have been up to for the past 7 years since, Arkham Origins came out. For my money's worth, the best Arkham game. I know you can call me crazy in the comments below. I don't care. I love that game. And when we had the DC Fandom experience earlier in the year, I thought Gotham Knights had a really strong presentation. I think the confusion over the Arkham continuity stuff is a little bit weird, considering that, Rocksteady's Suicide Squad game, which is going to be releasing in 2022, I can't remember now, with that being set in the Arkhamverse, but Gotham Knights not being set in the same continuity, that is a little bit weird. However, I do think it's the right decision because it means that Montreal are no longer beholden to another studio's vision. They can really go out and put their own stamp on Batman now. And I am very much here for more co-op driven superhero titles. Yes, I know, the Avengers, forget about it, it was terrible. But Gotham Knights, it doesn't look like an as-a-service title, it looks like a proper co-op story. Obviously there are loot elements, but the idea of, being able to customize your own version of Nightwing, Robin, Red Hood, and Batgirl, that appeals to me. And also the idea of more characters being introduced. I would love to see Batwoman in this game, as well as The Question, and maybe a few others as well. But yeah, I'm really down for the idea of playing a Batman game without Bruce Wayne, which is probably very weird. I'm probably in the minority there. However, I will say that my hopes were crushed in Arkham Knight when Bruce Wayne, you think he's going to die at the beginning, and then he doesn't. I'm so glad that a studio has been brave enough to make this decision now. And there's also another exciting aspect to it in the sense that, next year DC Comics have a whole new future state thing where they're changing the timeline and introducing a new Batman and, really kind of playing around with their mythos and trying something that's new and brave. And I feel as though that's the same case with Gotham Knights. So very much looking forward to seeing what Warner Bros. Montreal have in store with that game. And yeah, here's hoping there are no delays and that everyone is doing hokey-dory. But yeah, Gotham Knights, very much looking forward to that in 2021. So yeah.
What could be my most anticipated game of 2021? It's really hard to pick, there could be Hitman 3 or there could be, the Mass Effect remastered, rejigged trilogy because, we're just going to class that as a new game right here, right now because I've got a fake fire behind me. No, it's going to be Resident Evil 8, isn't it? It's going to be Resident Evil Village or Village Resident Evil or Resident Evil 8 The Village or Resident Evil The Village 8, whatever they want to eventually call it. They called Resident Evil 7 Biohazard 17 different names, but that doesn't matter. What does matter is we're going to get a new entry into the mainline canon of Resident Evil, and it's not going to just be a remake. We've had two of them already. One was excellent and one was, kind of fine. Some people hate it a bit too much just because they think games should be 4,000 hours. Just joking there. But no, Resident Evil 8 is going to be my most anticipated game for the year because it's just more Resident Evil, isn't it? And the prospect of Chris Redfield turning bad, turning naughty Chris Redfield is something we've never had. We've always had a sort of like, hey kids, we're all going to do it, we're all going to win, or someone who's very depressed. So it's nice to see, hopefully, Chris Redfield snap. Will he die? Who knows? It would also be nice to have someone like a Claire Redfield back, even though she's appearing in that TV series of Leon Kennedy, so she's probably not going to return anytime soon. But for me, after all this, if you look at the Resident Evil timeline, we've not seen Jill Valentine in so long, so I'm really hoping that she gets pulled into the story somehow, more so than just say like an Ouroboros sort of like test subject thing that they can use to make a virus, but someone who actually makes a difference and helps Chris harken back to the early days. And I'm just going here, I think Chris should be the bad guy, and I hope he is, but bad guy for good reasons, because Ethan and Evelyn were so close to the mold infection back at the Baker family home that he's probably just cleaning up loose ends. Don't want that virus to get anywhere. You don't want it to get anywhere. They've probably not been wearing a mask like you all should be wearing a mask. But yeah, and it's going to be nice to see this new gothic setting and, well, from the castle we've seen and visiting some old werewolf friends, and something that's going to feel a lot like, I think, Resident Evil 4, but in first person, even down to the vendor. But yeah, it's going to have to be Resident Evil 8, Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil The Village 8, The Village Resident Evil, whatever they want to call it. That's my most anticipated game of 2021, and that's the reason I'm still going today. Yes, that's it. That's why I'm still breathing. Goodbye.